A panic disorder. A panic disorder involves repeated and unexpected panic attacks. A panic attack is a feeling of sudden and intense fear that lasts for a short period of time. It causes a lot of physical feelings like a racing heart, shortness of breath, or nausea. Panic attacks can be a normal reaction to a stressful situation or part of other anxiety disorders. With panic disorder, panic attacks seem to happen for no reason. People who experience panic disorder fear more panic attacks and may worry that something bad will happen as a result of the panic attack. Some people change their routine to avoid triggering more panic attacks. And you can lose your job for having a panic attack. So I found out. This is my story, and I've wanted to tell it for a while. I've told some people, but I want to take it out there. I think that YouTube is a great platform to spread awareness. There's a lot of bad things on this YouTube, but I hope something good can come out of this. I really hope this video can just help anyone who's ever been in this situation. I hope my story can prevent this from happening to even just one person. I just want employers to not to be so ignorant about this. When I was 12, I was diagnosed with anxiety. I had panic attacks when I was a child growing up all the time. I didn't know what was wrong with me. Trips to the hospital, doctor's appointments, heart x-rays, like ECGs, like I can't find anything wrong with me. You are just, you have anxiety. You have an anxiety disorder. You have a panic attack disorder. So let's start from the beginning. In May 2016, I got a job at the Fairmont Chateau Lake Louise. I'm from Ontario. So I literally dropped everything. I was so excited. I just wanted something like a change. I got a job as a server. So I packed everything. I paid for my flight there. Everything's going well. I worked there for about 3 months or so. At the beginning it was a little chaotic. I mean, I've served before, but there was no real training or anything. You just kind of get thrown into it. But then they do audits on you. So what happened was my two bosses sat at my table and they're going to test me just fine. As I walk up to the table, I start having a panic attack. I have not had one in so long. I'm like, oh shit. So I get there and everything that I just read off to you happened. I can't think, I can't speak, I feel like I'm gonna die. It's called a panic attack, people. So I just went to the back, had a full-on panic attack. I did not disrupt anyone. It was just, it's a physical reaction. Didn't cause a scene in front of customers, nothing. My boss was like, are you gonna be okay? I'm like, I'm sorry, I had a panic attack. I've had a lot of these in my life. It's been a while since I've had one. He said, you know what? Go home, come back tomorrow. You'll be okay. Everything's gonna be okay. Okay, just go feel better. But I was worried because, these bosses were doing a test on me and I couldn't answer any questions because I'm literally having a panic attack. So I went to the, I guess it's called staff services, and I told them what happened. I was like, you know what, I'm really worried. This is what happened. I'm really sorry. Is there anything I can do to make it okay? I'm really worried for my job. I'm worried. They gave me a card that, this helpline thing. I took it. I said, am I going to lose my job? I actually said that. I'm like, I'm scared for my job. Oh no, everything's going to be fine. Everything's fine. You're going to be fine. So the next day I go into work. My boss tells me you have a meeting in HR regarding the events of yesterday. I was like, oh crap. Yesterday. I was like, yesterday, when I had my panic attack? He said, yeah, yesterday, when you had your panic attack. So I went to HR, scared shitless, and of course, the worst thing that could happen happened. You're fired, basically, they said. You're not the right fit for the position. I was like, you can't fire someone for having a panic attack. They're like, oh, it wasn't your panic attack. I was like, well, that's what he just told me. Oh, well, no, well, obviously they're not going to say that's what it was. So that being said, I'm thinking to myself, I never once made a mistake ringing in an order. I never once had a guest complaint. I made all my tables laugh. I loved getting to know people from all over the world. I had this one table from Scotland. They told me that I gave them the best service in Canada. Just like going through my head, like, this is awful. Like, I didn't do anything wrong. Like, it's just, they're actually firing me right now for having a panic attack. So obviously I'm upset, I'm crying. I'm in the middle of nowhere in Lake Louise. This is scary. This is not what you do to someone that has an anxiety disorder. So I go back to my staff housing. I mean, I start like calling people I know. I'm just like upset. I don't know what to do. This is so scary. I had just bought a brand new car because I was making, you know, good money there. I needed a car to get out of Lake Louise, go to Calgary. Like, oh my God, like, what am I gonna do? All these car payments, everything's going through my head. It's just so scary. All right, so let's just calm down a little bit here. Go to bed. Tomorrow's a new day. I wake up the next morning and someone's knocking at the door and they hand me an eviction notice that says, you have to leave today by 5 p.m. or we will call the RCMP and you will be considered trespassing. Okay, that's not something that you do to someone that has an anxiety disorder. That made it even worse. That was so scary. I don't know where I'm going. I'm in the middle of nowhere. There's bears everywhere. It's awful. Just awful. Luckily, I mean, not luckily, but one of my friend's parents live in Calgary. Okay, she calls me, you know what, go there. I told them what happened, you can stay there until you can get a flight home. Put everything in my car that I just bought, drove to these people that I've never met's house, stay there, get a flight home. What am I going to do with this car now? Get my car shipped across the country. You know, long story short, $1,500, pretty much everything that I've saved so far. And when I get home, a couple weeks go by and I get in contact with the head of the Fairmont. I tell her what happened. She says, you know, what do you want? I was like, well, I want to be like, you know, reimbursed probably for all my expenses to get home. I want this to never happen to anyone again. So they gave me a release that says you can have this money, but you have to sign off saying that you won't sue us, you won't tell anyone about this, you won't say anything on social media, you won't sue us for harassment, wrongful dismissal, discrimination, none of that. I decided not to sign it because I want to be able to tell my story. I want to be able to warn people about working at this place. I want to be able to spread awareness about the ignorance that people have towards mental illness, the stigma. You can't treat someone like an absolute criminal for having an anxiety disorder. It's just not right. I realize the world is not fair. I realize people get mistreated all the time, but if my word can help in some way, then that's all that I would like. So I did not sign that. It's been a struggle since then. I mean, I signed up for unemployment insurance, which pays you like pennies. So all that just goes towards my car payments. It sucks. I'm trying to find my way. I'm scared almost now when I get a job. I'm trying to cry. Every time I get a job, I'm like scared out of my mind that I'm gonna get fired and this is gonna happen again. So that is my story. If something like this happened to you, I want to hear about it. Please comment on this video. I hope us together can stop to break the stigma of mental illness, anxiety attacks, panic attacks, because it is a disease that, you know, it's just like having the flu. It's something that you can't control. It's something I've had my whole life. It is scary. I have it pretty much under control, but after this, I am terrified to even work. Please Employers out there, if your employee has a panic attack at work, has an anxiety disorder, has anything like this, please do not treat them like a criminal. They are a normal human being with feelings, with aspirations, with goals that don't deserve to just be literally thrown out on the street, especially if you have staff housing for them, evicted, threatened, to call the cops on them. Just crazy. You don't do that to someone that has anxiety. You don't do that to anyone. It's even worse if they suffer from that, okay? Please don't do this to people. Please treat everyone with respect. Have some compassion. Have an ear. Don't be so ignorant. Just don't be so evil towards people. Please just be kind to them. Be understanding. Offer help. Don't fire them.